Let's talk markets right now with Kourtney Gibson, the president of Loop Capital Markets, also a CNBC contributor. And Kourtney, let's just talk about this from the institutional perspective. That's who your firm focuses on. What are you hearing from some of those big institutional investors right now as we get to the end of this quarter that has been the roughest quarter for stocks since the start of the pandemic?
Well, Becky, thanks so much for having me. It's great to see you this morning. So it's really kind of interesting. At Loop Capital Markets, we cover a wide variety of institutional investors on both the stock and the bond side. And for every opinion, there's another one on the other side, but that's obviously what makes markets. What I did find interesting this past week in talking to our equity desk was that we are seeing clients that have kind of limits on their programs, particularly those quant program trading firms that are basically like, look, if it hits this level, we'll come back in. If not, we're good. The last couple of weeks, what's been, again, incredibly interesting as we saw this rally was that institutional investors were buying. They were coming in here at these levels and really, I think, helping to drive this rally that we've seen heretofore. I mean, if you look at the 20-day moving averages over the last couple of days where we've seen this kind of dip or kind of vacillating in the market, it's really been driven on low volume, which is not what you want to focus on. You want to focus on those high volume days because that's what's telling you the sentiment of institutional investors in the marketplace. The buying being driven by the institutional investors, are they the smart money here? Do they know something, or do they just look and say, hey, this is a bargain, relatively speaking? Well, I think, I would never say that institutional investors are the smart money, and because that would imply the reverse, which is that retail is not. And so I would never say that. What I will tell you, though, is that folks that have a high conviction portfolio strategy, whether it's quantitatively driven or fundamentally driven, they are absolutely picking their spots. This is not going to be a market as we move forward in 2022 where rising tides are going to lift all ships. It's just not going to happen.
What do you like right now? What is your firm like? What do you like?
So at Loop Capital Markets, we have about 20 institutional research analysts that are covering over 300 names. But in my portfolio, I have a very diversified portfolio. But the areas where I tend to focus, again, for the long term and where I was buying as recently as even last night, we're in kind of the fintech space. I love financials. I also love tech. And consumer staples. So again, kind of going back and forth in some of those cyclical names as well as some of the secular growth names as well. But we're going to need tech in this space in order to continue this rally through the end of the year.
Shepard Smith here. Thanks for watching CNBC on YouTube.